They called it witchcraft. They swore she poisoned the eyes and minds of the world's most powerful men with potions and aphrodisiacs. But they were wrong. The deadliest poison wasn't mixed into wine. It was born from a perfect combination of a sentence spoken in 7 languages, a smile timed to perfection, and an intelligence capable of mapping an imperial throne on a piece of papyrus. Cleopatra was not a sorceress. She was a grandmaster of chess whose pieces were Roman legions, and she almost won it all. Imagine a 21-year-old woman, exiled from her own throne by a power-hungry younger brother. She did not run away crying. She planned her revenge, and her weapon was not a sword, but cunning. She knew one man could restore her throne, Julius Caesar, the absolute ruler of Rome. But how to reach the most powerful man in the world? Surrounded by guards and enemies? She had her loyal servants roll her up in an ornate carpet, a gift for the general. Hidden inside wasn't a blade, but a queen. As the carpet was unrolled before a seated Caesar, Cleopatra did not crawl out in shame. She emerged, calm, graceful, her eyes immediately locking with the man who could destroy or save her. She did not beg. She offered an alliance, and she did it in perfect Latin, poetic Greek, and fluent Egyptian. Caesar, the military genius, was stunned, not by her beauty, but by her mind. Overnight, she went from a fugitive to his most important ally. This was not a love story, but a story of a power exchange. Cleopatra needed Caesar to reclaim her throne. Caesar needed Cleopatra to control the largest grain basket in the Mediterranean and Egypt's legendary wealth. Together, they crushed their enemies. Cleopatra regained her throne, and her gift to Caesar? A son, Ptolemy Caesarean. Little Caesar, a living proof that his blood would flow through future kings. But then, Brutus's dagger ended Caesar's game in the Roman Senate. Cleopatra's world collapsed instantly. A power vacuum emerged, and once again, Cleopatra did not mourn. She set her sights on the new player, Mark Antony, the next strongest general in Rome. Antony, the rough and blunt soldier, thought he was summoning the queen to demand answers. He sat on his throne, waiting for her arrival with arrogance. Cleopatra knew she could not come as a supplicant. She had to arrive as a goddess. She came to Tarsus on a barge with golden hulls, sails scented with myrrh and silver oars. She herself, sitting under a golden canopy, was dressed as the goddess Venus. The city was in an uproar. Antony, expecting a frightened woman, was instead greeted by a vision that left him awestruck and feeling like a mere mortal. He invited her to a banquet. Cleopatra replied, "No, you will come to my feast." And on her ship, she presented a party so lavish it shamed Antony's simple meal. But once again, her weapon was not luxury. That was just the stage. Her weapon was her conversation. She spoke of strategy, philosophy, poetry, and ambition. Antony, the soldier, was captivated by an intellect he had never encountered. He fell in love, yes, but more importantly, he saw a partner who could help him master the East, and perhaps all of Rome. They formed an alliance that shook the world. Cleopatra financed Antony's wars with Egypt's wealth. In return, Antony gave her territories of the Roman Empire. He declared Caesarion the legitimate heir of Caesar, a direct slap in the face to Octavian, Antony's rival in Rome. They were almost there. Almost. The Battle of Actium was a disaster. Antony, perhaps rash or due to a tactical error, followed Cleopatra as she retreated from the naval battle. It was a crushing defeat. Octavian hunted them down to Alexandria. In the final hours, when all was lost, Antony heard a rumor that Cleopatra had killed herself. Shattered, he fell on his own sword. But the rumor was false. Cleopatra was still alive, barricaded inside her mausoleum. The dying Antony was carried to her arms. And there, in the darkness of the tomb, after the second strongest man she had loved died in her embrace, Cleopatra faced reality. Octavian was coming. She knew what he wanted. He wanted her brought to Rome, in chains, and paraded in his victory triumph, a trophy to display his glory. For Cleopatra, this was the ultimate, unacceptable humiliation. Octavian finally found her, but he did not find a desperate queen. He found a woman still seated on her throne, wearing her most beautiful royal robes, as calm and haughty as ever. He thought he had won. He thought he would take her to Rome. But Cleopatra had already planned her final move. With permission to tend to Antony's body, a loyal servant smuggled a basket of fresh figs into her room. Hidden among the ripe fruit was a deadly asp. When Octavian's guards broke down the door, they found Cleopatra already dead, lying on her golden bed, still wearing her royal robes. A faint smile was on her lips. Octavian was furious, not at her death, but because he had been defeated one last time. His victory parade had lost its main attraction. He would never be able to parade the powerful Queen of Egypt through the streets of Rome. Her beauty ensnared the world, but it was her deadly intelligence that ensured she would always be remembered as a ruler, not a captive. She chose the serpent's poison over shame. That was her greatest victory, and in her death, she finally defeated Rome.